Welcome to Stepwise with Dr. Bob. Let's go ahead and look at today's Minute Cryptic. For example, an elephant over 50 reproduced 3 times. Okay. Immediate first thoughts. For example is sometimes e.g. an elephant. Not sure. Over 50. 50 could be L, the Roman numeral. Reproduced 3 times, so there could be 3 L's in something. Obviously, I suggested a number of cryptic things that would not leave us a definition. I was just kind of brainstorming. For example, an elephant over 50. I guess that could be the definition if reproduced is an anagram of 3 times. I guess I'll start there. Three. The ist. I just wanted to get the ist on the other side. Why? For example, an elephant over 50. And 50 is written out 50. Why not? And maybe that's just a grammatical convention, not a thing to pay a lot of attention to here. It's TER leaves us with. Oh, I'm just losing track here. ISTE. It's just the M there. I think there's another E. That's not a thing. Oh, is that a red herring? Can I make an anagram with 3 times? What means, can I back solve this? What means an elephant over 50? Taxiderm. That was the word I was trying to think of. An elephant is a taxiderm. Let's go another way. Reproduce 3 times is triplicate. Is there any way that we can make this has a par five? I just noticed. All right. Well, I've got one answer. Reproduce 3 times is triplicate or triplicate in triplicate. Close enough, I think. Let's see. For example, I don't see EG in here. An elephant over 50. I'm thinking it's not that. Are there other ways to represent 50? Because L might be one of them or two of them. There could be a third way of doing it or a second way of doing it. But what's an elephant? That's that's getting me. An elephant. It's not in the position to be much of a definition unless it's just, for example, an elephant. Tachyderm. Behemoth? No, that's not it. Man. No, I'm trying to think of what an elephant is an example of. For example, an elephant. Because then maybe over 50 reproduced three times is it. I still think it's either three times anagrammed or triplicate. But I can't think of anything that would tell me how to get triplicate from what we have here. If I were to take a hint, I play this game sometimes. If I was to take a hint, what are the possible things that could pop up as the indicators? For example, I I don't think that's an indicator. I think it's part of a definition, if anything, or it's fodder that's being directly replaced, um, EX or EG. All right. An elephant. That's not fodder. I'm sorry, that's not an indicator. No way. Over could be. I usually see over if this is like a standard across down type puzzle, and then over would be like on top of. So when it's a standalone horizontal, I don't see over being, uh, I don't see over being an indicator. 50, no. Reproduced could be. Reproduced is the strongest indicator I see, and that would be rearrange. Three times. Reproduced three times could all be an indicator if. So I think those are the only two. I think those are the only two indicators, and that would suggest, well, unless reproduced is gonna, yeah, reproduce with. So there may be no indicators. It could be all fodder, which is what I suggested, that this somehow makes triplicate, and this is the definition for triplicate. And if this made triplicate without being manipulated with an indicator, that means each thing kind of has to just pull out. For example, I don't see it. I don't even think I spelled that right. Triplicate would be that. Um, I think I spelled it right before, but I didn't spell it right that time. Yeah, I don't see, for example, I don't see an elephant in there. I don't see over 50 in there. I'm going to hit check because if I'm wrong, I'll never see it. No. All right, good. Get that in my head. So it does not reproduce three times. It could be still 50 reproduced three times. Somehow an elephant, and then over, and then 50 reproduced three times. What's another way to reproduce 50? You could do L, you just do 50. You do L again. You can do three L's, but not in a row. Not in any word I've ever heard. And if there's nothing here to rearrange, not loving that either. I was trying to talk myself into something other than anagramming three times. I think I just have to try harder to anagram this thing. I think. Is there any other thing I'm missing here? If it was spelled out 55 FIFTY reproduced, I would think that maybe that could be rearranged, but I don't think they anagram a replacement. So putting in FIFTY, I don't think. You could reproduce the whole thing. Again, if I could come up with something that, oh yeah, I've already ruled out. Um, well, have I ruled out three times? Reproduce three times, so it's triplicate. What is three times? I don't think there's a word that just means three times. All right, let's go back to that. I don't know how that's a par five unless it's just a really hard. I'm gonna start like STREHINET. Therm, THERMETIES. Heights. ETHER mites. Ether mites. Hermitites. Am I still preserved here? TIMES. Oh, times. No, I lost something, didn't I? I think one of these is an E. It's only one I. Whoops. Yeah, all the letters are there. Hermitites. Hermestite. Smite. Cite's a word. Might have gotten away from the IST at the end a little fast. What the rest of these? Mether, Prometheus. Is that a thing? Yes. I'm just trying to leave the possibility that there's a word for an old elephant that I don't know. There's no question mark on here either, so it's not, or yeah, question mark. So it's not like a stretch definition. Well, let's try this. There's a chance that times is something else. Um, AMs, PMs, X, just the multiplication. Reproduced three might be prefix. This isn't going to go well, is it? That Turks. And then I was thinking over 50. So I was thinking perhaps, for example, an elephant. And then over 50 might be older, senior. I don't know why you'd pick 50. I'm just barely over 50, but I got a discount swimming the other day. That one hurt. Um, my original thought had EG for example, Dan, elephant over 50. This is going nowhere fast. Been here before. I fight through it, but is it a word I don't know? Is that, I don't even know if that's right. I thought that was an elephant. It could mean, for example. What's a 10-letter word for example? I cannot think of a 4-letter word, or sorry, 10-letter word for example. If it was for example, if that was part of the definition, I don't think you'd include that as part of the definition. If I'm thinking about this from a clue setting standpoint, what does that add that a question mark wouldn't add? Like if for example, if the clue was just an elephant over 50 reproduced three times, say the for example is um, qualifying an elephant. You don't usually have to put that. You could just say, and in crossword clues, you could just say an elephant. And if it's a stretch, you put the question mark. Hmm. Where I was concentrating there was other things that this could mean. Times. Times is multiplication. Amount of letters. Multiplied. Not really. I'd want to back solve that. I don't see reproduced three. I don't see three. I don't see 50. I don't see, for example. There's no way that's it. All right. So going back to my thought, if, for example, has to be part of the fodder, what does that do? For example, over 50. That does not mean reproduce three times. So reproduced has Xerox. That's a old term for reproducing. Didn't anywhere with that either. Over could mean above. Over could mean on. Over could mean for example, an elephant. Dumbo's an elephant. Are there any other famous elephants? I'm just trying to think of words that fit in here. No, egotistical doesn't. Exactly. What am I doing here? Starts with the G, it has to mean times, three times, or reproduce three times. Or 50 reproduced three times. 50, 50, 50. Is that 505,050? Is that 150? Wow. Convinced it's something like, I've convinced myself, perhaps incorrectly, that, for example, is part of the cryptic part. I think if I took a hint, I I really just think it's gonna show no indicators. And then I'm gonna be right where I am. And then I would take another hint and it would show me that some subset of this is the fodder. And then I'd be right where I am. And then I would probably have to start taking letters to try to convince myself what I'm missing. And then I'd probably get it right around par. So, can I bypass all that? For example, demonstrate is kind of an example, but again, Maybe that was, I don't know why I typed it. Represent. Yeah, I guess the only thing I could have ruled out is that for example is the definition. If I'm convinced that for example is superfluous for the definition, uh, that means it's either fodder or it by itself is the definition, which means an elephant, an elephant. Where's my elephant knowledge here? I know of Tachyderm, which may be right, and I know of Dumbo, which is a famous elephant, and got nothing else. I still don't have an over 50. EG, an elephant, over 50. Reproduce that whole thing. So if I rearrange that to get three times. No, well, I'm seeing not much here, but let's just play this out. I'm writing down UN and ED, and what does that leave? GDM, B, oh, oh, not the D. There's an L in there. No, there's something I'm missing. Well, in the interest of this video not being an hour long, I think I need to give in. Hate giving in. I hate giving in. I've tried everything, haven't I? Think I've tried everything and gotten stuck. I'm going to kick myself hard on this one. Is there another word for four? Use this for something. I said reproduced is like Xeroxed, but that was only because I had this EX over here and I didn't know if that was gonna reproduced three times. In the old days, you had like pieces of paper, you had the carbon copy. You had like the Yeah, that's what CC is and BCC. It's from the old days, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, this was written by Corey Calhoun, CC. Nothing there. That's two words. You never know when you're going to get it. So I'm delaying hitting that button because I'm just thinking it's going to dawn on me. Elephant and elephant has 8 letters. For example, a indicator of rearranging and somehow an elephant rearranged means over 50 reproduced 3 times. It is. I'm not seeing that either. Right. Over. This clue's indicator is over, and it's a containing indicator. Some fodder or its substitute will go over some other fodder or its substitute. Hmm, that is intriguing. So, over in a horizontal sense, like, are we changing what a letter looks like? How does that even work? Like, let's say, for example, it was, well, yeah, I don't even know. An elephant. What do I put that on top of to change these letters? Like, if there was another N underneath an N, that would look like an R. Is that kind of what we're saying? An A on top of what? I don't even know what you could put on top of that that would change its. You could put it on top of a L, I guess, and maybe it would mean a P. I don't know what you put on top of an E to change it. An L is already there. E again, a P. Well, that is. And what's it going over? Like something is going over 50, FIFTY, or L reproduced 3 times. That was not what I was expecting. I gotta read that again just to. This clue's indicator is over, and it's a containing indicator. containing indicators, like yesterday's, where like there's something contained. But it says some fodder or its substitute will go over some fodder, some other fodder or its substitute. Does that mean like it's going to overlap? Writing something down here, just trying to see what this possibly looks like. I was drawing out L's, a bunch of 50s. Excuse me. This is a doozy. Yeah, I'm gonna read it a third time because this containing thing is really what I'm missing. So I guess it could mean like surrounding it. It's usually not what it means by over. I guess I will take another hint. Show the fodder. This does mean reproduce three times. The clue's fodder is, for example, an elephant and 50. For the first, we'll need to find a category of which an elephant is an example. For the second, we'll need to find a substitute for 50, a very common numerical substitute in cryptics. Hackneyderm. Oh, of course, that means reproduce three times. I have to pause this for a second. My daughter's calling me. I'm not going to get anywhere while I'm gone, I promise. Yeah, I'm back. Um, Although you just flip, didn't even notice. Yeah, my daughter's homesick today. And I've got more things to do before I go off to teach, so I should probably accelerate this, but it's not going anywhere. I'm back to triplicate. Triplicate. Reproduce three times. Triple. Triple what? Triplets. Triplets spelled weird. Ah. Reproduce three times is the definition. So what the heck does that mean? Reproduced three times. Parent, reparented, and you parent, and then you parent again. That's only twice. How do you do it three times? Family of five, reproduced, clone, clone again, clone again. Now there's four. What other reproduced is there? That's the definition. The three should be in there somewhere. And this is going over 50, which sounds like just over L. For example, an elephant over 50. A group that an elephant is part of. There's some words going on here I don't know, or I'm just not getting it. An elephant is a sometimes a circus animal. An elephant is yeah. I already know what the definition is. Show the fodder again. This clue's fodder is, for example, an elephant and 50. For the first, we'll need to find a category of which an elephant is an example. And then that's going to contain or go over an L. This is a 10-letter word that has a 9-letter word going around an L. I think that's it. And I don't know why I'm not coming up with either word. This would make me even more happy with triplicate in rep. Is an elephant a reptile of some sort? Reptilian with another L. Replicate. Re reproduced is not, there's no rearranging here. Elephant's not a reptile. It's a mammal. Didn't make sense anyway. Was I wrong about the spelling? No. All right. Time is my enemy. What a great first letter. All right. I wasn't going to get this. Reproduce three times. Um, is there something like a quadrupod? Like something with four legs? Quadruple is reproduced. No, that's to quadruple something is to reproduce it three times. Reproduced. Quadru quad quadruped with the L in there. Quadruped. An elephant is an example of a quadruped. And it's going over, around. Don't love that, but the L. Reproduced three times is quadrupled. Well, I get it. I don't feel bad about taking the hints. I don't think I was going to get there. I don't think any amount of steps would have got me there. Well, I hope you enjoyed watching that painful struggle. Um, we'll see you next time.